All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, great to be back.
Yeah, always great to have you here. And today we're talking about something I think a lot of people have questions about.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's intermittent fasting.
Yeah, huge topic. Lots of interest around this.
Yeah.
And especially when we're thinking about athletes.
Right. And especially with all these different ways to approach it,
Right.
It seems like everybody's doing it in a different way.
Yeah, and we're going to try to make sense of that today.
Yeah, so that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Yep.
We've got this great article from Physio Hub that's really diving deep into, the research behind intermittent fasting.
That's right.
And it's really going to help us kind of navigate what all the different types of fasting are and, pros and cons and what the studies are actually saying.
Absolutely.
So let's get into this.
Yeah, let's do it.
So first of all, when we say intermittent fasting, I mean, what are we actually talking about here?
Right. So at its very basic level, it's just, periods of eating and then periods of not eating.
Right.
You're abstaining from consuming calories, essentially.
Okay.
So you're going back and forth between these windows.
Right. So it's not like you're just like, starving yourself for 3 days or something like that.
Yeah.
It's more structured than that.
Yes, exactly. Much more regimented, much more about, kind of planning out when you're going to eat and when you're not going to eat.
Okay. And this has been around for a while though, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the concept of fasting is ancient, right? I mean, it goes back, centuries and centuries, often tied into religious and spiritual practices.
Right.
But what's interesting about it now is that it's become very much a health and wellness kind of trend, right?
Yeah.
People are doing it for weight loss. They're doing it for metabolic health and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of come full circle in a way.
Yeah. It's interesting how that happens. So what's actually going on in the body during those fasting periods?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, why is it that we see all these potential benefits with things like, weight management and metabolic health and...
Yeah, so when you fast for an extended period of time, your body starts to shift its fuel source.
Okay.
And so normally, if you're eating regularly, your body is primarily relying on glucose for energy.
Right.
But when you fast, your glucose levels start to drop.
Right.
And then your body starts to turn to its fat stores.
Okay.
And so it starts releasing free fatty acids.
FFAs.
Right, FFAs. And those FFAs can then be used by your muscles and your organs for energy.
Okay.
And in addition to that, your body also starts producing ketones.
Right. Yeah, ketones, which can also be used as an energy source by the brain, especially.
Exactly. That's right.
Okay. So this kind of shift in fuel source is really one of the key things that's driving a lot of those potential benefits.
This seems to be, yeah.
Right.
Now, obviously, more research is needed, but that's kind of the prevailing theory right now.
Okay. And then when it comes to like the actual different ways to do it,
Right.
I mean, there's so many, like we were saying.
Right.
But this 1:16:8 method seems to be like the one that everybody's always talking about.
Right. 16:8 is definitely one of the most popular ones.
Yeah. So can you break that down for us?
Sure. So essentially, with 16:8, you're fasting for 16 hours each day.
16 hours.
Yeah. And then you have an 8-hour window where you can eat all your meals.
Okay.
So, for example, you might stop eating at 8 p.m.
Okay.
And then you wouldn't eat again until noon the next day.
Okay.
And during that 16-hour fasting period, you're typically allowed to drink water,
Right.
coffee, tea.
Unsweetened stuff, right?
Right, exactly. You want to keep it calorie-free.
Okay.
And so this is different from some other types of fasting, like, during Ramadan, for example, where they
Right.
also restrict fluids.
Right. You can't even drink water during the day.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So 16:8 is a little bit more lenient in that sense.
Okay. So with all this stuff going on with iFast, all the potential health benefits and everything,
Yeah.
what happens when we start thinking about athletes?
Yeah, that's the big question, right?
Yeah. I mean, how does this actually play out when you're talking about performance?
Right. Yeah.
Because this article from Physio Hub, it seems like they're saying it's not necessarily a slam dunk.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as you might think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of research that's been done on this topic, but the results are kind of mixed.
Okay.
And one of the big challenges is that the studies are all very different.
Okay.
They use different protocols, different types of athletes, different durations of fasting.
Right.
So it's really hard to compare apples to apples.
Right. I mean, it's not like we can just look at all the research and be like, okay, this is what it means.
Exactly. It's a very heterogeneous body of research.
Okay. Heterogeneous.
Meaning it's very diverse.
Right.
There's a lot of variation.
Okay, so what are some of the things that they did find, though?
Okay, so one of the things that they looked at was the impact of iFast on different types of exercise.
Okay.
So, for example, they looked at high-intensity exercise. And what they found was that athletes who were doing high-intensity exercise, like sprinting or weightlifting,
Right.
they actually tended to see a decrease in performance when they were doing IFAST.
Really?
Yeah.
So like they were trying to do IFAST and then it was like making them worse at their sport?
Yeah, it seemed to be having a negative impact on their ability to perform at their peak.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily an immediate effect either.
Oh.
It could take a few days or even a few weeks for this performance decline to show up.
Wow.
So it's not like, you start fasting and then the next day you can't lift as much weight.
Right.
It's more of a gradual thing.
Interesting. So what about for endurance athletes?
Right. So for endurance athletes like marathon runners or cyclists, the findings were a little bit more mixed. Some studies showed a slight decrease in performance while others didn't show any effect at all.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like kind of all over the place.
It's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
And it seems like the specific type of fasting protocol that was used had a big impact on the results.
Okay, so like how long they were fasting for and what kind of fasting they were doing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, for example, some studies looked at alternate day fasting,
Okay.
where you fast every other day,
Okay.
and others looked at time-restricted feeding,
Okay.
like the 16-8 method.
Right.
And it seems like the alternate day fasting was more likely to have a negative impact on endurance performance,
Okay.
whereas the time-restricted feeding didn't seem to have as much of an effect.
Interesting. Okay, so what about resistance training?
Right. So for resistance training,
Which is obviously a big one for a lot of athletes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
The findings were actually kind of encouraging in some ways.
Okay.
So they found that athletes who were doing resistance training and IFAST, they didn't lose any muscle mass.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's a big concern for a lot of people, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you're trying to gain muscle,
Right.
you don't want to be doing something that's going to make you lose it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it seems like IFAST doesn't have a negative impact on muscle mass.
Okay.
In fact, some studies even showed that IFAST can help athletes lose body fat.
Really?
Yeah.
So you could potentially get leaner
Right.
while still maintaining muscle.
That's the idea.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, so it sounds like there's some potential benefits there, but overall, this article is really stressing that like the impact on performance is still inconclusive.
Yes, that's very important to remember.
Okay.
We don't have all the answers yet.
Right.
And I think the main takeaway is that it really depends on the individual athlete.
Okay.
It depends on their sport.
Right.
It depends on their training goals.
Right.
It depends on how they implement IFAST.
Right. So there's no like one size fits all answer.
Yeah.
Okay. But they did talk about some potential benefits for specific types of athletes, right?
Yes, they did.
Especially those who are competing in weight class sports.
Yeah, so for athletes who need to make weight for their sport,
Right.
like wrestlers, boxers, MMA fighters,
Right.
IFAST could be a useful tool
Okay.
because it can help them lose weight without having to drastically reduce their calorie intake.
Right, because I was gonna say if you're training really hard and then you're also like super restricting your calories, that seems like a recipe for disaster.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
So IFAST allows them to kind of have these periods where they're not eating,
Right.
but then they can also have these periods where they can eat enough to fuel their workouts.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's kind of like a strategic way to manage weight
Exactly.
without like totally depriving yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what kind of advice does this article give for athletes who are thinking about trying IFAST?
Well, the first and most important piece of advice is to talk to a sports nutritionist or a registered dietitian who specializes in sports nutrition.
Okay, so somebody who really knows their stuff when it comes to this.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Because they can help you figure out if IFAST is right for you.
Oh.
They can help you create a plan that's tailored to your individual needs and goals.
Right, and like your sport and everything like
Exactly.
that. Okay.
They also recommend that you monitor your performance very closely.
Okay, so like keep track of your workouts and how you're feeling and
Exactly.
okay.
If you're starting to feel really tired or your performance is suffering,
Right.
then that might be a sign that IFAST isn't working for you.
Okay. So you got to really pay attention to your body.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then finally, they recommend that you choose a fasting protocol that fits your lifestyle and your training schedule.
Okay.
So if you're someone who works out early in the morning,
Right.
it might not make sense for you to do a fasting protocol that has you eating your first meal at noon.
Right. You're going to be starving.
Right, exactly. So you want to choose a protocol that's going to allow you to eat when you need to eat.
Okay. So it's really about finding what works for you.
Exactly.
Okay. So big picture here.
Yeah.
Sounds like IFAST. there's some potential there,
Yeah.
but it's not like a magic bullet.
No, definitely not.
It's not going to automatically make you a better athlete.
Right.
And it's really important to do it safely and effectively.
Absolutely.
And to work with a professional
Yeah.
to make sure that you're doing it right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, this has been a really fascinating deep dive
Yeah, it has.
into iFast. And, it's interesting to think about all the different factors that play into it.
It really is.
And it's not just about, when you're eating, but it's also about what you're eating and your training and all these other
Your
things.
sleep, your stress level.
All that stuff.
Yeah, it's all connected.
And it's really making me think about, we're talking about this in the context of athletes. But I'm curious, for just the average person like you and me,
Yeah.
how much of a difference does all this stuff actually make?
That's a great question.
Yeah. I mean, we're not professional athletes.
Right.
But we still want to be healthy.
Absolutely.
We still want to feel good.
Yeah.
So how much of a difference does it actually make for us to be paying attention to all this stuff?
That's a really good question. And I think it's something that more and more people are starting to think about.
Yeah.
For a long time, we've kind of just focused on, calories in, calories out.
Right.
Eat less, move more.
Yeah.
But I think there's a growing awareness that it's more complicated than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that things like the timing of our meals
Right.
and the types of foods that we're eating
Yeah.
can have a big impact on our health and well-being.
Absolutely. And I think as we learn more about the gut microbiome
Right.
and how that interacts with our food,
Yeah.
we're going to start to see even more evidence of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it is. So what other aspects of personalized nutrition do you think could be out there?
Oh, that's a good one.
I mean, it's interesting to think about, we've got all these, wearables now, and we can track our sleep and our heart rate and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Could we get to a point where, we're tracking our blood sugar in real time and our, hormone levels and...
It's definitely possible. I mean, the technology is advancing so rapidly.
Yeah.
That I think we're going to see a lot of really cool developments in the next few years.
Yeah. Imagine being able to know exactly what your body needs at any given moment.
Right.
And being able to tailor your diet and your lifestyle to that.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That would be pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of potential there for sure.
absolutely.
Okay, well, this has been a really thought-provoking conversation.
It has.
I appreciate you coming on and sharing your expertise.
Happy to be here.
And for all of you listening, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah. See you next time.
And we'll see you next time.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.